going to start with membership obligations. So this topic covers areas of obligations outlined in the BC Soccer bylaws and adds to the information provided to our members on the first session when we cover membership structure. Basically, the obligations within our bylaws are the conditions established so all our members are granted the right of membership. And in other words, we can say that the obligations are the expectation that BC Soccer has of all its members. Starting with members, the obligations that apply to all members. So that includes voting members as well as non-voting members. The first obligation is to have similar objectives as the society. This speaks directly to the values, the vision, the mission, the values, and the purpose of the organization. They have to be aligned to the ones of BC Soccer. Also include the compliance to bylaws, rules and regulations, judicial codes, the policies, including of the governing bodies of BC Soccer, which are Canada Soccer and FIFA. Further, all members have the obligation to participate in the affairs of BC Soccer and the activities provided by BC Soccer within the reasonable constraints of a member. So organizations that are participating in the sport through the BC Soccer membership as an adult league, as an example, have the ability or have the obligation to participate in the affairs within the constraints of the members, of their membership. Other obligation listed is the obligation to meet all financial obligations to BC Soccer. So that includes the fees and fines, any financial requirement that exists within the membership. Manage the affairs independently and ensure that those affairs are not influenced unduly by third parties. It speaks to the core of some of the parameters that BC Soccer has put in place, from conflict of interest to the proper governance of organizations. So this ensures that members are acting in the best interest of their organization. Going back to the topic that was covered in the first session, that speaks to the duty of care required from board members, which are translated into your organization as well. Further, speaking to the duty of loyalty, is that the members must observe the principles of loyalty, integrity, and good sporting, making sure that they follow an expression of fair play through its regulations. All regulations set by members of BC Soccer, as well as the society itself, must take that into account. Further, as the governing body for soccer, we must ensure that we respect the laws of the game as determined by the IFAB, ensuring that all members respect the same rules. Further obligation within our bylaws to provide the books and records of the organization to the society for inspection upon request, basically stating that similar to what a district would have the expectation to be able to inspect books and records of its members, BC Soccer carries the same right, and members have the obligation to comply with that request. In addition to obligations that apply to all members, BC Soccer has two types of voting members. Those are the youth district and the adult leagues. Further to the rights that those members have within the organization, there are further obligations that those voting members have to abide by. And we're going to cover them quickly here. Number one is to register and report all players, team officials, and association officials to BC Soccer, and that is done through the BC Soccer CRM. Number two is to have a process in place for acceptance of membership with full benefits that is free from conflict of interest. And that process was initiated in 2020, and now it's fully in place. So members of BC Soccer, such as the districts and the leagues, must ensure that they follow the principles of a free conflict of interest process for acceptance of membership within their organization. In addition, the members should also inform the society in writing of the date of their AGM with at least 30 days notice. And further on this presentation, we'll talk about the method and the format that this is done to provide BC Soccer with that information. And after the AGM, or within 30 days of that AGM, members should also provide a copy of to BC Soccer of the following documents. So that is the Constitution and bylaws and rules that were amended, a compilation engagement of the financial statements being reviewed and audit being also considered acceptable, a list of the current officers and directors showing the name, telephone numbers, and email of each, as well as proof of filing of the organization as annual report with the Societies BC. So there's an administrative component of the obligation which allows BC Soccer to be sufficiently satisfied that the members are being compliant both by law as well as with the requirements of membership or obligations of membership. Further to those obligations, voting members are also required to submit a discipline report on an annual basis, as well as a criminal record check report on an annual basis. And those two will speak to exactly the format and how you submit that to BC Soccer later in the presentation. One item specifically addressing youth district associations, the nature of those organizations as they accept other societies into their membership. We also ensure that they must comply with the similar type of obligations or the similar type of requirements for compliance within the Societies Act, as well as membership obligations of BC Soccer. So that is the compilation engagement, the proof of filing, the list of current officers, the discipline report, the criminal record check report, as well as the books and records to be open for the Youth District Association. So basically the same expectation that exists within the system from one level of governing body, let's say Canada Soccer to BC Soccer to its members, it's all aligned through the bylaws of the society. BC Soccer also has obligations that apply specifically to non-voting members. So some examples here will be the associate members that BC Soccer has. And they are to make an application of membership with annually with BC Soccer, that all teams under the jurisdiction of the Adult Associate League must be members of that same league, and that they also have to register or report all its members, players, team officials, and association officials. So that's those are all the obligations strictly from the bylaws, and now we get into more of a practical component. Is okay, how do I, as a member, meet my obligations with BC Soccer? That is done through our CRM. So for you, if you're not familiar with, the CRM is the system and the platform that we use to be the interface between BC Soccer and its members. And that includes from registration to discipline to some of the club licensing requirements as well. So in the CRM, every member will have a section called compliance. And in that section, you're able to to upload information related to all the documents that we spoke here today, specifically some obligations that are listed. When we say inform the society of your date of the AGM 30 days prior to, within that compliance space or within that compliance button, you can click and request BC Soccer at your AGM, which basically means you're informing BC Soccer of the date, and BC Soccer, by extension, could attend the AGM, either to have a formal role or simply to observe the AGM. The follow-up in terms of the documentation after the AGM, again, all done through the CRM in the compliance area. All the information that you require to submit to BC Soccer will be easily available to you to upload, as well as to BC Soccer to review it. The current officers is all done under the board and staff information, and you can add new members at your leisure. Some members have now recalled that we've just released an information as well to have members update information on their members with BC Soccer, which is important not only from a communication standpoint, but to ensure that all members that are uploaded from a registration purpose have all been listed properly in the CRM. And both the discipline and the criminal record check report can also be uploaded to BC Soccer via the CRM. Some key takeaways that we want all members to take from this presentation. Number one, familiarize yourself with the obligations. The purpose of the obligations is not to be a punitive process, but rather to ensure that all members are in good standing with BC Soccer. And that process, it's done both in collaboration with the reminders from BC Soccer, as well as you initiating and being proactive on identifying which documents you have or which compliance items you do need to submit. Identify internal leads. It's important that each organization has an individual or individuals that are able to collect that information and properly submit that to BC Soccer. Review your CRM functions, which basically says individuals that you have within the CRM listed and have the account and access to your own organization, they must be updated. Some organizations that have changed either the staff or board members need to ensure that that is reflected within the CRM. Create a detailed work plan on a regular basis, on an annual basis, establish some of the reminders. Some of those documents or some of that information is something that you're expected to do it anyways, such as the AGM. You know when they take place and how much time you have to inform BC Soccer, as well as follow up on documentation from those meetings. And ask for help. We're here to support you. We're here to make sure that either you are clear on what the expectation is, as well as how to properly submit that information to CRM.